How's it going, gamers? It's Nathan here. Figured I would drop you guys with another hidden gem. This video is going to be a talk with you guys more so about how God made me rich at the young, ripe age of 21. Actually, I was 20, but, posted it when I was 21. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and jump right in. I mean, you can literally implement the same thing. I know a lot of you people out there are probably lost, confused, just probably thinking like, what the hell should you do with your life and whatnot. And this video is gonna, I guess, somewhat guide you and give you that reassurance or direction that you may need in freaking life. Because I was there at one point myself. I mean, I was so freaking low. I remember when I first started, I guess, trying to learn to side hustle, make money. I've got rejected so many times, and I eventually ended up in the trading space, tried that out. So still doing so bad up until like a year and a half. I started seeing some profit, and I was cheated on, and that ended up kind of adding fuel to the fire, and it helped out, but that's not important. What is important is, the three P's, right? What are the three P's? I know what you're thinking. Okay, how are three P's gonna get me rich? Let's go ahead and remove the first sticky note, Johnny, shall we? Purity. You have to be pure. So a lot of you people, me personally too, I've always struggled with, because I remember like a long time ago, somebody told me that they've heard the voice of God, that they could hear God talking to them, that God communicated them through different shapes and forms. Me personally, I've never had that, right? I've, at least, with my sense, I always thought, oh shoot, God must not love me. God must not be interested in me because, I'm not hearing his voice. People are telling me the only way you can hear his voice is, if you clear your thoughts and whatnot. Try to clear my thoughts, still couldn't hear his voice whatsoever. I was told if I go to some place, try this retreat, try this and this and this, I would be able to hear his voice, and I could still not hear his voice. So I thought something was wrong with me, or maybe, maybe I'm just not good enough for God. Maybe God just wants nothing to do with me, which is completely wrong. God loves you entirely, and he wants, nothing but the best for you. But the main reason you can't hear God is because you are just unpure, right? And I'm not saying, God is just going to turn his back from you because you're not righteous. No. What I'm saying is that you have too much internal noise going within you. For example, me personally back then, I used to, beat the Johnson, stroke the chicken every single freaking day and watch lots of corn, right? Corn on the cob. I would watch it so much. It ruined my freaking relationship with the girl I was dating at the time. And it also it just gave me this false of sense hope. It depleted my energy. I would just look at girls sexually. I just had like these thoughts instead of, ideas to build something. They were thoughts of, seducing, destructive, sexual, perverted thoughts, right? They were not these, I want to build a freaking 8-figure business. I want to, travel the world. I want to do this and that. No, they were disgusting thoughts. None of them were pure whatsoever, right? And it doesn't have to just necessarily be terrible addictions, right? Like smoking weed, trying drugs, drinking alcohol. It can also be something like an addiction such as video games and whatnot. If you're freaking playing Fortnite every single day and whatnot, and not dedicating any time to, your Lord and Savior Christ, or whatever it is you're, with a business that you're trying to do, then obviously you're not going to win, right? Clearly, because of people that are living the life that you want, are driving the cars that you want, making the money that you want, wearing the clothes, the watches and whatnot that you want, they're not over there playing games. And I'm not saying that's every single day, because I'm not going to lie to you. I play games here and there. There's nothing wrong with the relaxing. What is wrong is building a bad habit on it and, letting yourself stay mediocre in that sense. It's okay to rest here and there. There's nothing wrong with resting. What is wrong is if you stay at that point and if you stay at that point and you're not trying to make the efforts to push yourself to the next point, the next destination, right? It's like if you're trying to climb a mountain, go to like the highest peak, the highest echelon of that mountain, and you're only, 1/3 of the way through the mountain. You stop right there, enjoy the view and whatnot, but you stay there, you're already snacking and whatnot. What's going to happen? You're going to get a meal crash, you're going to fall asleep, and you're going to stay there. You're never going to finish the trip. And it's the same thing with your addictions. It's the same thing with whatever it is that is distracting you from your goals. You have too much internal noise going on. And that can also be something as simple as doom scrolling. I recommend that you dedicate some hour, 2 hours, 3 hours if you can, of your life to the person that gave it to you. God. Find a quiet place, a quiet spot, pray, talk to him, and, see what is going on. Obviously, you're going to, us humans, we're going to fail. The flesh is going to fail and whatnot. So we must keep our soul pure, which is going to come to the next part. Why do we need to keep our soul pure? Because a lot of this stuff too, it's very simple. Majority of times, a lot of us aren't pure or have like these terrible, terrible addictions because something very simple, which is in this sticky note right here. We lack purpose. We have no purpose, right? It's like a bot, like a robot that's supposed to paint walls and whatnot. What's going to happen if it paints all the walls? It can't do anything, right? It's a robot, but we're not robots. We got emotions. We're going to try and distract ourselves and do something. That's why sometimes it's a lot easier for us to look and fantasize over somebody else's life because we got nothing interesting going with our own, right? That's why whenever you scroll and whatnot, you see this person painting something cool. You're like, oh, that's cool, right? But what if you could paint that, You'll never know because you haven't tried it. But of course, if you try it, then you'll know if you're able to do that. And if you're not able to get the first try, screw it. Try it again, try it again, try it again. And it's with everything you do in life, whether it's a business, whether it's talking to people, right? Approaching people. It doesn't have to be a girl, it could be a boy. Approaching people and whatnot. Everything you do in life, right? It's because we lack purpose. So we go into the soft things that'll give us quick artificial dopamines. And dopamine is not bad for starters, right? That whole shenanigans that's going on freaking TikTok, Instagram Reels and whatnot, that dopamine's bad, you need to do a dopamine detox. You can't get rid of dopamine. Dopamine is literally built within our system. It's just people abuse it, right? It's like certain drugs in the pharmacy. People, they're going to get prescribed and whatnot. Oxycodone isn't bad itself. It's just people tend to abuse it by taking unnecessary amounts of the freaking oxycodone, right? That's why it is a controlled substance. So if I were to tell you, control the amount where you're putting your dopamine, control where you're, putting your attention at, wouldn't you be a little more pure in that sense, right? Wouldn't your interest kind of shift? Because you're no longer dumping all your dopamine into the porn, into the freaking stroking the chicken, drinking, smoking and whatnot, because all your time is already occupied with the purpose. If you work on if you work on the purpose part, and maintain the purity, you'll eventually get into this sticky note right over here. Freaking prosperity, right? God can't connect to you at all if you're all clouded. You can't hear God's voice if all of this is loud. How does this all get loud? Or how does this all shut up? You got to pray. You got to stay clean. Be freaking celibate, right? Have retention and whatnot. Deny the flesh and unnecessary indulgences. And you will hear God's voice. Now, maybe it won't be a direct voice. At least for me, the way I hear God, it's not through a voice. I hear it through people, and I hear it through things I read, through things I see and whatnot. I'll find God in that sense. I won't necessarily hear him. I don't know if I will hear him, but I know he communicates with me in that sense. But when you hear his voice, right? We'll use his voice as like the example, I guess, to describe it, right? When you hear the voice, the plan he has for you, then you will prosper. Then he will give you whatever it is that you want. But the first thing you have to do, you have to be pure, right? You can't do any of this if you're not pure at all. Because let's say, regardless if you were to get it, even if you weren't pure, what's going to happen to your prosperity? Well, you may get it, right? But you may also lose it really fast. Because realistically, you can't do much without God, right? The money means nothing at all if you do not have God, if you do not have happiness in life. And people can be like, yeah, well, it's just people don't know how to use freaking money. Well, I will argue with you. Some people know how to use money, but they're still unhappy. Why is that? It's because they lack a purpose within. They lack God. They lack the God, that created us. And when you have that, you have the purpose, you have the happiness and fulfillment in life, and you get the prosperity added to it. Literally, it was this whole thing right over here that allowed me to get my first $10,000 a month. All because, I maintained the purity, which opened the gates to the purpose, which eventually lead to prosperity. A lot of people think, oh, you know what? I'm going to try day trading because, I think it's my purpose. Well, is that, do you want to do it because, you're in it for the money? Or do you want to do it because this for sure will change your life, change your mindset and whatnot, because you want to better yourself? Because realistically, a lot of the people with a lot of the freaking social media trash that's coming out, people are going into trading, trying to get rich, a quick rich scheme and whatnot, and they're just being fed this mouthful of garbage, saying, if you do this, if you do trading, e-com, crypto, all of this and this and this, you're gonna get freaking rich fast as F-boy, you're gonna get that freaking Lambo and whatnot. If you're doing it for those pure reasons and whatnot, you are not going to be fulfilled. If money, right, and this is kind of like how you can also, I guess, whenever God talks to you and whatnot, in the sense, if money was not, important, if money was out of the equation and whatnot, think about what type of man you would want to be. Let that sink in. Think of the type of, if you knew that you weren't going to get paid shit for whatever it is that you want to do, right? Would you still want to do it? If you knew that you weren't going to get paid at all from freaking day trading, right? In fact, you'd probably end up losing money. Would you want to do it at all? Think about it. Yeah, people will be like, oh, but you make so much money. You get to retire your parents so early. Think about it. If you are not making any money whatsoever for the consecutive 5 freaking years, however long it takes, would you still be interested? Or will you be like, no, maybe I want to try something else? You'd probably shift, no? And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just simply that it's not your purpose. It's not what you're meant to get. You have something bigger, a greater divine sense in you. You just need to, be pure so God can reach you, give you that purpose, so he can eventually steward you into getting that prosperity. Because like I said, none of it matters at the end of the day. The money doesn't matter, right? I'm not getting paid for these freaking videos. Some people are probably going to come across these videos. Some aren't. I'm just creating this because I enjoy it and whatnot. I enjoy sharing. I enjoy teaching. And I'm not getting paid for this whatsoever, right? Who cares though? Because like I said, I feel a sense that I'm working on my speech. I'm working on my talks. I feel like this is the best way I can connect. In a way, I feel like this is my purpose. So I'm going to do it for free or not for free. It doesn't matter to me. And that rhymed. So yeah. And of course, none of this can occur if you don't do the freaking prayers. Guys, your prayers are so important. A lot of people just do not know how to freaking pray. This video is getting a bit long and I don't want to exceed the freaking 20-minute mark. So I won't go too deep into the prayer, like how you should pray. Read a Bible, pick up a Bible. It'll literally teach you how to pray. But guys, if anything that you want in life, anything, whether that's physique, monetary, influence, so on and so forth, anything that you want in life, you can have it. What if I told you that? You can have it. You can have it. Not from me, of course, but from God himself. You can have it. From Jesus Christ himself. You can have it. All you have to do is pray for it. Pray for it in the, in the belief that it is already yours. Pray for it and he will give it to you. But of course, prayers really won't be heard unless you do it with the right energy. But how do you have the right energy? Purity. Boom. Purity. Why? Because if you're purity, you're in a high frequency, high freaking flow state. Okay, cool. After purity, boom, gain the purpose, right? Maybe I'm supposed to be a spokesman person, right? Boom, spokesman person, pray for it. Boom, you're freaking prosperous. And how was this all possible? Through the one and only freaking God. I mean, and that's as simple as it gets, guys and girls, of course. Money does not matter. Money is just a frequency. It's just currency, energy. Money does not matter. At the end of the day, what does matter is your purpose. And are you willing to chase it, or are you willing to just let it go? A lot of people will, follow their heart. They will follow their heart instead of following their dream. Follow God, not your dream. Technically, God is the one who gives you the dream, the vision, but in this case, in this example, we're gonna use God, right? People who follow their heart end up in the gates of hell. People who follow God end up prosperous with a fulfilling, happy life and in the gates of heaven. So with that being said, follow the 3 P's, pray, and you'll have whatever it is that you ask for. That's it for this freaking video, guys. I mean, it's as simple as it gets, right? But simple does not mean easy, of course. You have to put in the reps. You have to deny yourself. You have to deny the flesh. Whenever you want to beat your stuff, you beat your freaking pounded chicken, you got to tell yourself no. Whenever you want to play the banjo, you know what I mean? You got to tell yourself no. Whenever you want to smoke the ganja, inject yourself, do these crazy PEDs, you got to tell yourself no. You got to deny yourself. Otherwise, you might as well freaking forget the purpose, because it seems to me the human purpose is more important than the spirit's purpose. And the spirit's purpose will make you a whole lot more of a man or a woman and a whole lot more prosperous than you currently are. So, with that being said, that'll be all for me today. It is currently freaking 8:40. I told myself I was going to go to the gym, but I decided I wanted to make this freaking video because freaking why not? I felt like it was a very important topic I had to get out there. And yeah, if you guys like this type of content, feel free to stick around, subscribe. Otherwise, you won't see my face ever again as I drop gems like this here and there. If you have any questions, concerns, or any types of, ideas for content that you would like to see, feel free to drop it in the comments. Other than that, give me a freaking thumbs up. And if you stayed and watched the entire thing, reply in the comments, Jesus loves you, because he sure as hell loves me and you. And I also love you guys. Y'all have an amazing day. God bless. Happy Tuesday.